What if events went differently in The Dark Knight Rises? Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, to another DC What If series. And in today's episode, we're finally going to be diving deep into another interactive what if, where you have the choice to choose your path, your scenario, where you would like to go within this video, and it really gives you 100% creative freedom, and I am super excited to bring this format back to the channel because it's been such a long time. I feel like it's been almost a year since we've done an interactive what if. I believe we did an interactive what if on Spider-Man 2 as well as No Way Home, so it's been quite a while, but I do want to say it's this time of the year again where I'm bringing them back. It's November, and usually in November I try and get at least 2 or 3 interactive what ifs done. So that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, if you guys are new to the channel, I would highly recommend to subscribe, as it really goes a long way, and it also goes a long way in the algorithm to get these videos put on recommended so we can showcase it to all of the watchers of the multiverse. But that being said, my fellow watchers, it is time to choose your destiny.
Let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne.
Choice A, Bane Kills Batman. The underground chamber echoed with the sounds of heavy blows and labored breathing. Batman and Bane fought with unrelenting ferocity, their strikes resonating like thunder in the cavernous space. And every move Batman made was calculated, but his body betrayed him, worn down by years of fighting and the weight of Gotham's unending struggles. Bane, unyielding and monstrous, seemed unstoppable, his movements deliberate and devastating. Batman aimed for Bane's mask, attempting to weaken the source of his strength, but the larger man countered with brutal efficiency. Blow after blow landed, each one driving Batman closer to defeat. The Dark Knight's once impenetrable will began to crack under the weight of his adversary's overwhelming power. Finally, with one swift motion, Bane hoisted Batman into the air and brought him down onto his knee, breaking his back. The sound of the impact echoed through the chamber, a harbinger of Gotham's impending doom. As Batman lay broken, barely clinging to consciousness, Bane paced around him like a predator, savoring its kill. The fight was over, and so was Gotham's hope. Bane lifted a gun, the cold steel aimed at the head of Gotham's protector. A single gunshot pierced the air, and the city's symbol of resilience fell silent. The news of Batman's death spread rapidly, plunging Gotham into chaos. Images of his lifeless body circulated, a grim reminder of the fragility of hope. Bane declared himself the ruler of Gotham, his iron grip enforced by fear and violence. The League of Shadows dismantled the city's institutions, bringing the elite to their knees while plunging the streets into anarchy. Behind it all, Talia al Ghul watched, her plan to destroy Gotham unfolding perfectly. The city's defenders were scattered. Commissioner Gordon, injured and hunted, went into hiding. The police were powerless, their numbers decimated by Bane's forces. The remaining resistance struggled to find direction in the absence of their leader. Gotham, a city of shadows, teetered on the edge of total collapse. In the chaos, Selina Kyle moved with purpose. She carried the weight of guilt, haunted by the memory of Bruce's final stand. She had brought him to this fight, believing it was the only way to save Gotham. Now, her actions had left the city without its protector, but Bruce had entrusted her with a message before he fell. A final plea to ensure Gotham had a chance. She sought out John Blake, the man Bruce had chosen as a successor. Blake, a former police officer with unwavering conviction, was stunned by the revelation of Bruce Wayne's secret. The knowledge that Batman had trusted him to carry on his legacy filled him with both dread and determination. He wasn't Bruce, but he understood the need for Gotham to believe in something greater. With Selina's guidance, Blake uncovered the Batcave and began to prepare himself for the mantle he was destined to wear. Meanwhile, Bane tightened his grip on Gotham. His forces roamed the streets, enforcing his rule with brutality. Citizens cowered, powerless against the might of the League of Shadows. Talia remained hidden, orchestrating every move to ensure the city's complete destruction. She saw Bane as a tool, a means to fulfill her father's vision, but her own ambitions extended far beyond his. Blake's transformation into Batman was not seamless. His first outings were marked by violence and anger, a reflection of his inexperience and the grief he carried for Bruce. He fought recklessly, leaving destruction in his wake. Gotham's criminals feared him, but so did its citizens. His methods were a stark contrast to Bruce's calculated precision. While Bruce had been a symbol of hope, Blake's Batman inspired fear. Selina, recognizing Blake's struggle, worked to refine his approach. She taught him the art of stealth and precision, drawing from her own experience. Alfred, returning to Gotham despite his heartbreak, provided quiet support, guiding Blake as best he could. But Blake's anger often clouded his judgment, leading him into increasingly dangerous confrontations. Bane's dominance was challenged for the first time when Blake, donning the prototype Batsuit, launched an assault on one of the League's strongholds. The battle was fierce, but Bane proved too powerful. Blake's inexperience nearly cost him his life, and he barely escaped with Selina's intervention. The humiliation of defeat weighed heavily on him, but it also forced him to confront his own limitations. Blake retreated to the Batcave, where he studied Bruce's notes and recordings, piecing together the lessons he needed to learn. He began to temper his anger, focusing on strategy and discipline. His subsequent efforts against Bane's forces were more calculated, targeting supply lines and key operations to weaken their hold on the city. Slowly, the resistance gained momentum, with Blake's leadership inspiring the scattered remnants of Gotham's defenders to regroup. The final confrontation began when Blake uncovered Talia's role as the true mastermind. Her manipulation of Bane created cracks in their alliance. Bane, driven by his own ambitions, grew increasingly defiant, leading to tension between them. Talia's plan to destroy Gotham entirely pushed her to act alone, deploying the League's remaining resources in a last-ditch effort to complete her father's work. The streets of Gotham became a battleground as the resistance, led by Blake and Selina, clashed with Bane's forces. The chaos reached its peak when Blake confronted Bane once more. This time, Blake fought with the wisdom he had gained from Bruce's example. He used the tools and tactics Bruce had left behind, exploiting Bane's reliance on his mask to gain the upper hand. The fight was brutal and relentless, but Blake's determination proved stronger. With one final strike, he destroyed Bane's mask, leaving him gasping for air before collapsing. As Bane fell, Talia attempted to escape. Selina pursued her through the ruins of the city, their confrontation ending in a fierce battle. Selina's agility and resolve outmatched Talia's fury, and she delivered a decisive blow. Talia, wounded and defeated, succumbed to her injuries, her final thoughts consumed by hatred for Bruce Wayne and the legacy he had left behind. With Bane and Talia gone, Gotham began the slow process of rebuilding. The resistance worked to restore order, and the police emerged from the shadows to reclaim the city. Blake, now fully embracing his role as Batman, became a symbol of hope once more. Though his methods were different, he carried Bruce's ideals forward, learning from his own failures and triumphs. The bat signal shone in the sky once again, a beacon of resilience for a city that had endured so much. Alfred, standing in the Batcave, gazed at the light with quiet pride. Gotham's protector was gone, but his spirit lived on in the man who had risen to take his place. Blake stood on the rooftop, the wind pulling at his cape, as he looked out over the city. The night was quiet, but he knew it wouldn't last. Gotham would always have its darkness, but now it had a guardian willing to face it. The Dark Knight had fallen, but his legacy had risen anew. Choice B. Batman Kills Bane. The fight was brutal, each blow between Batman and Bane a contest of willpower and strength. The darkened underground of Wayne Tower seemed to shrink around them, the weight of Gotham's fate pressing down like a suffocating force. Batman was running out of time. His body, bruised and battered, screamed for him to stop. But he wouldn't. He couldn't. Bane moved with calculated fury, his strikes precise and devastating. Each punch landed like a sledgehammer, driving Batman closer to the edge of defeat. Yet Bruce's mind worked furiously, analyzing every movement, every breath. He had seen the weakness in Bane's mask. It was a vulnerability, small but exploitable. He just needed to survive long enough to take advantage. Bane, confident in his superiority, taunted as he pressed his assault. He lifted Batman and slammed him into the ground, the impact sending shockwaves through the floor. Bruce's vision blurred, but his resolve held firm. As Bane bent down to deliver the finishing blow, Batman struck. With a sharp motion, he launched a concealed blade into the tubing of Bane's mask. The blade severed a key connection, and the hissing sound of escaping gas filled the room. Bane staggered back, his breathing labored, his movements suddenly erratic. Batman rose, drawing on reserves of strength he didn't know he still had. He attacked with unrelenting precision, targeting Bane's mask, tearing at the remaining tubes. Each strike weakened his opponent further, until Bane was on his knees, gasping for air. The fight was over, or so it seemed. Bane reached out with one final surge of strength, pulling Batman close. Bruce reacted instinctively, grabbing a shard of broken debris from the ground and driving it into Bane's chest. The room fell silent as Bane's body slumped to the floor. His mask hissed one last time, before the sound faded entirely. Batman stood over his fallen foe, his breathing ragged, his fists clenched. The realization of what he had done slowly settled in. He had crossed the line he had sworn never to. He had killed. Word of Bane's death spread quickly. Gotham's citizens, long accustomed to the myth of Batman as a symbol of justice, were divided. Some celebrated, viewing Bane's death as a necessary act to end his reign of terror. Others were horrified, questioning if Batman was still the hero they believed in. The League of Shadows, now leaderless, fractured. Some fled the city, unwilling to continue the fight without Bane, but others, driven by revenge, vowed to destroy Batman for killing their commander. Talia al Ghul, upon learning of Bane's death, stepped out of the shadows. Her grief transformed into a burning hatred for Bruce. Bane had been her greatest ally, and her most loyal follower. Now she would ensure Gotham paid for his death. The weight of his actions bore heavily on Bruce. Killing Bane had saved Gotham, but it had also shattered his moral code. He retreated to the Batcave, avoiding even Alfred's presence. The echoes of the fight replayed in his mind, haunting him. He began to question everything: the symbol of the bat, his mission, and his ability to protect Gotham without losing himself in the process. Selina Kyle found him days later. She had watched the fight unfold from the shadows, understanding why Bruce had made the choice, but she feared what it would do to him. She urged him to move forward, to focus on rebuilding Gotham. Yet Bruce remained distant, his guilt threatening to consume him. Talia wasted no time in seizing control of the remnants of the League of Shadows. She unveiled a new plan, one even more destructive than Bane's. While Bane had sought to dismantle Gotham's corrupt elite, Talia aimed to erase the city entirely. She activated the nuclear device Bane had threatened Gotham with, setting a countdown for its detonation. Her message was clear: Gotham would burn, and Batman would suffer, knowing he couldn't save it. Amid the chaos, John Blake stepped into the spotlight. Inspired by Bruce's example, he took up the fight to protect Gotham's citizens. Bruce, realizing the weight of the city was too great for one man to bear, entrusted Blake with a prototype Batsuit. Blake, untrained but determined, began operating as a second Batman, his methods raw but effective. Selina joined Blake in his efforts, her skills and experience balancing his inexperience. Together they worked to evacuate the city and dismantle Talia's network before the bomb could detonate. Bruce, meanwhile, focused on finding a way to disable the device. The climactic showdown took place at the heart of Gotham, where Talia had fortified herself with the League's remaining forces. Bruce, Blake, and Selina led a coordinated assault, fighting through waves of assassins to reach her. Talia, relentless and cunning, confronted Bruce directly, her skills honed by years of training. Their fight was fierce, a clash of ideologies and personal vendettas. Talia taunted Bruce, blaming him for her father's death and Bane's downfall. But Bruce, drawing on his guilt and the hope of saving Gotham, ultimately overpowered her. As the timer on the bomb neared zero, he managed to disarm it, with Lucius Fox's guidance, averting catastrophe. Talia, wounded and defeated, refused to surrender. In her final moments, she declared that the League of Shadows' mission would never end. She died with hatred in her eyes, her last breath a curse upon Bruce and his legacy. With Talia and Bane gone, Gotham began to heal. Bruce, still grappling with the consequences of his actions, decided it was time to step away. He saw in Blake the potential for a new protector, someone unburdened by the same mistakes. Leaving the mantle of Batman behind, Bruce disappeared from the public eye, his fate known only to Alfred. Blake embraced his role as the new Batman, his methods less refined but rooted in hope and determination. Selina remained by his side, her partnership with Blake. The bat signal shone once more, a symbol of resilience in a city that had seen the worst of humanity but still believed in the possibility of redemption. Choice C. The Joker interferes. The underground chamber shook with the force of the battle between Batman and Bane. Each strike was more brutal than the last, the clash of Gotham's protector and its destroyer echoing through the stone walls. Batman's movements were sharp and precise, but exhaustion crept into every punch and kick. Bane was relentless, his strength and endurance seemingly unending. Batman's mind worked furiously, searching for a weakness, but his options were running out. Suddenly, a hissing sound filled the room. Thin green gas seeped from hidden vents, curling through the air. Batman, trained for such contingencies, quickly retrieved a filtration mask from his utility belt, securing it over his face. Bane staggered, caught off guard as the gas enveloped him. He coughed violently, the toxin weakening his body. The fight came to an abrupt halt as laughter, high-pitched, maniacal, and unmistakable, filled the chamber. From the shadows emerged the Joker, his pale face twisted into a grin that stretched far too wide. His bright purple suit stood out starkly against the dim surroundings. Behind him, a small group of henchmen emerged, armed with rifles and gas canisters. The Joker carried a remote detonator in one hand, waving it theatrically as he observed the scene before him. He moved with twisted elegance, mocking the combatants like a showman in the middle of a grand performance. The gas thickened, making visibility difficult. Bane's soldiers entered the fray, but the Joker's henchmen unleashed a flurry of grenades and gunfire. Chaos erupted and the already crumbling chamber became a war zone. Bane, weakened but not defeated, withdrew with his soldiers, furious at the interference. His heavy steps faded into the distance as he made his escape. Batman turned his focus to the Joker, but the clown prince of crime was already setting off a chain of small explosions to distract him. Joker's henchmen covered his retreat, and by the time the gas cleared, he was gone. In his wake, Joker left a single calling card tucked into the rubble. On the back of it was a scrawled message: "Arkham is open for business." Batman returned to the Batcave, his mind racing. He pieced together the horrifying truth. Joker had orchestrated a massive breakout at Arkham Asylum. Gotham's most dangerous criminals were now loose on the streets, wreaking havoc in their wake. Among those freed were Scarecrow, Killer Croc, and the Mad Hatter, each carving their own path of destruction. Joker wanted Gotham for himself, and anyone who didn't fit his vision of chaos had no place in his plans. The Joker's army grew, bolstered by Arkham inmates and loyal henchmen who thrived under his anarchic leadership. The city descended further into madness. Fires burned in the streets, explosions rocked the skyline, and Gotham's terrified citizens fled for their lives. The Joker's ultimate goal, however, was far more ambitious. He had learned of the League of Shadows' nuclear bomb, the one Talia al Ghul had activated as part of her plan to destroy Gotham, and he wanted it for himself. Meanwhile, Talia and Bane regrouped. The Joker's interference had disrupted their carefully laid plans, and their frustration boiled over into anger. Talia blamed Bane for not securing Gotham quickly enough, while Bane bristled at her constant demands. The alliance between them began to fracture. Talia, determined to regain control, devised a plan to eliminate the Joker once and for all. The Joker, however, was always one step ahead. He infiltrated one of the League of Shadows' strongholds, leaving his signature brand of carnage in his wake. His goal wasn't just to steal the bomb, it was to take control of the League itself. He mocked their discipline, turning several of their members against each other, with lies and provocations. The League, once a united force, began to crumble under the weight of his manipulations. Batman worked tirelessly to mitigate the damage. He fought to protect Gotham's civilians, dismantling the Joker's operations wherever he could. But the city was a battlefield, torn apart by three competing forces: Joker's chaotic army, Bane's disciplined League of Shadows, and Batman's scattered resistance. Commissioner Gordon, operating from the shadows, coordinated what remained of the police force, but their numbers were too few to restore order. As the chaos escalated, Batman tracked Joker to an abandoned factory on the outskirts of Gotham. The factory had been converted into a nightmarish lair, filled with traps, toxic gas, and grotesque decorations. The walls were lined with crude graffiti mocking both Bane and Batman. At the center of it all was the nuclear bomb, rigged with Joker's signature improvements. He had wired the bomb to a series of remote detonators scattered throughout the city. turning Gotham into a ticking time bomb. Batman infiltrated the factory, methodically taking down Joker's henchmen. Each step was a calculated risk, the stakes higher than ever. When he finally reached Joker, the confrontation was as much psychological as it was physical. Joker danced around the room, taunting Batman with riddles and half-truths about the bomb's location. He wanted to push Batman to his breaking point, to force him into making a mistake. Before Batman could subdue him, Bane arrived, his mask repaired and his fury unchecked. The factory erupted into chaos as Bane's soldiers stormed the building, clashing with Joker's henchmen. Batman found himself caught in the middle of the carnage, fighting to reach the bomb while avoiding both factions. Talia appeared during the battle, intent on reclaiming her father's legacy. She confronted Joker directly, but his unpredictability proved to be her undoing. As they fought, Joker revealed that he had rigged the building with explosives, ready to destroy everything if he couldn't have the bomb. In the final moments, Batman reached the bomb, disarming it with guidance from Lucius Fox. Talia, gravely injured during her fight with Joker, succumbed to her wounds, cursing Batman with her last breath. Joker, cornered and outnumbered, attempted to escape, but was apprehended by Batman after a brutal struggle. Even in defeat, his laughter filled the air, a chilling reminder of the chaos he had unleashed. Bane, seeing Talia dead and his plans in ruins, retreated into the shadows. His figure disappeared into the wreckage, vowing to return and finish what he had started. The League of Shadows dissolved, its members scattering without their leaders. Gotham lay in ruins, but its people endured. The fires were extinguished, the streets cleared of rubble, and life began to return. Joker was sent back to Arkham Asylum, his maniacal laughter echoing through its halls as he awaited his next opportunity to wreak havoc. Batman, battered but resolute, stood atop a building overlooking the city. The scars of the three-way war would take time to heal, but Gotham was still standing. The battle was over, but he knew the fight for its soul would never truly end. Choice D. Count of Owls arrive. The battle between Batman and Bane shook the very foundation of Wayne Tower. Each blow echoed like thunder, the clash of Gotham's protector and its would-be destroyer reaching a fever pitch. Bane's relentless strength battered Batman's defenses, his calculated strikes finding weaknesses in Bruce's armor. Despite his exhaustion, Batman fought on, determined to stop Bane's reign of terror. But just as Bane moved in to deliver the finishing blow, the chamber was plunged into the darkness. The lights flickered and died, leaving only the faint glow of emergency lighting. The air grew heavy, filled with an eerie silence punctuated by the soft flutter of wings. Batman tensed, his instincts warning him of a new threat. Even Bane, confident and unstoppable moments before, hesitated as a low, rhythmic chant filled the chamber. From the shadows, figures emerged, clad in ceremonial armor, with intricate owl masks obscuring their faces. The Court of Owls had revealed themselves. For centuries, the court had manipulated Gotham from the shadows, their influence woven into the city's very fabric. They were the architects of Gotham's rise and fall, shaping its leaders, controlling its fortunes, and eliminating anyone who opposed them. The chaos caused by Bane and the League of Shadows had provided the perfect opportunity for the court to step into the light. Their leader, a tall figure radiating authority, surveyed the scene with cold detachment. The fight, they declared, was over. Gotham's fate would no longer be decided by Batman or Bane. The city belonged to the Court of Owls, as it always had. Then, from behind the masked figures, a single enforcer stepped forward, the Talon. Clad in sleek owl-themed armor, the Talon moved with a deadly grace, their every step silent but purposeful. A legendary assassin trained by the court, the Talon was their weapon, their hand of judgment. For generations, the Talons had served the court, eliminating their enemies with brutal efficiency. Batman had heard whispers of them before, but he had dismissed them as myths. Now, standing before one, he realized the truth was far worse. Without hesitation, the Talon attacked, targeting both Batman and Bane. Their movements were impossibly fast, each strike precise and deadly. Bane, unaccustomed to being challenged, roared in fury and retaliated with brute strength. But the Talon's agility and precision made them a match even for his raw power. Batman, though battered, joined the fray, analyzing the Talon's movements and searching for weaknesses. The fight was chaotic, each combatant pushing the others to their limits. The Talon's blades flashed in the dim light, slicing through the air with deadly intent. Bane, despite his size and strength, struggled to land a decisive blow, his frustration growing with every miss. Batman, meanwhile, used his training and gadgets to counter the Talon's attacks, but their speed and skill were unlike anything he had faced before. The court's leader watched impassively as the battle raged, their presence a silent reminder of the power they wielded. When it became clear that neither Bane nor Batman would yield, the leader gave a signal. Explosions shook the chamber as charges planted by the court detonated, causing the walls to crumble. The Talon disappeared into the shadows as the chamber collapsed, leaving Batman and Bane scrambling to escape. In the days that followed, Gotham descended further into chaos. The League of Shadows, weakened by their conflict with Batman, now found themselves targeted by the Court of Owls. The court unleashed their talons across the city, systematically dismantling the League's operations. Bane, humiliated by his defeat at the hands of the Talon, vowed to destroy the court and reclaim his dominance. The Talons were unlike any enemy Gotham had faced. Each one was a masterpiece of deadly efficiency, trained from childhood to serve the court. The court abducted children from Gotham's poorest neighborhoods, selecting only those with the physical and mental potential to become assassins. These children were groomed in secret, their identities erased, their minds and bodies molded into perfect weapons. The most loyal and skilled were given the Lazarus Compound, a serum that granted them near immortality. Even death couldn't stop a Talon for long. Batman encountered the Talons repeatedly as he worked to uncover the court's plans. Each fight was a harrowing test of his skill and resolve. The Talons moved with precision, exploiting every weakness and adapting to every counter. They were tireless, their abilities enhanced by the serum coursing through their veins. Batman had to fight smarter, using his environment and his gadgets to outthink them. But for every Talon he defeated, another seemed to take their place. The court's influence extended beyond their assassins. They controlled key figures in Gotham's government, police force, and business sectors. Their power was so deeply embedded that even Bruce Wayne's resources struggled to keep up. Projects funded by Wayne Enterprises were suddenly halted, and allies like Lucius Fox and Commissioner Gordon faced mounting obstacles. The court's goal wasn't just to defeat Batman, it was to erode the very foundations of Gotham's hope. The final confrontation came when Batman uncovered the court's central lair, a vast underground chamber hidden beneath Gotham's oldest skyscraper. The walls were adorned with portraits of Gotham's elite, each one marked with the symbol of an owl. The room was filled with masked members of the court, their presence exuding a chilling sense of control. Batman confronted the court, demanding answers, but they responded with calculated indifference. Gotham, they claimed, had always belonged to them. The chaos caused by Bane and the League of Shadows had been an inconvenience, but it had also provided an opportunity to reassert their dominance. They saw Batman not as a hero, but as a disruption, a symbol of hope that threatened their carefully maintained order. The Talons struck from the shadows, engaging Batman in a brutal fight. This time, the court had prepared for him. The Talon's armor had been upgraded, designed to counter Batman's gadgets and tactics. The fight pushed Batman to his limits, each move a desperate attempt to survive. But even as he fought, he realized the true danger wasn't the Talon, it was the court itself. They were the architects of Gotham's darkness, and defeating one Talon wouldn't stop them. As the fight raged on, Bane arrived, his fury unchecked. The chamber erupted into chaos as Bane attacked both Batman and the court. The Talon turned their attention to Bane, the two titans clashing in a destructive battle. Batman used the chaos to disable the court's control systems, exposing their operations to the world. With their network compromised, the court retreated, leaving the Talon to cover their escape. Bane, realizing his forces were spent, disappeared into the ruins, vowing to return. Batman, though victorious, knew the war was far from over. The Court of Owls had survived, their influence still entrenched in Gotham's foundations. As Gotham began to rebuild, Batman stood atop a rooftop, his gaze fixed on the city below. The League of Shadows was gone and Bane had fled, but the Court of Owls remained. They were a shadow over Gotham, a reminder that the city's greatest threats weren't always in the open. The battle had only just begun, and Batman knew he would need every ounce of his strength and ingenuity to face the darkness ahead. And that is going to be it for What If Batman The Dark Knight Rises, the interactive What If. What did you guys think of this interactive What If and the choices? Do let me know what choice you chose in the description down below. I would love to hear what you guys chose and why you chose it, and what was your favorite one. Did you guys like all of them? Was one of them your least favorite? Do let me know, as I would highly recommend, giving a bunch of feedback. It really just goes a long way into the channel. Criticism, feedback, and whatnot. It just goes back into the channel so that we can make these videos better and even more enhanced and higher quality. So that being said, my fellow watchers, what is the next what if scenario? What should I do next? And what other interactive what ifs would you guys like to see? That being said, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a wonderful day. Peace out.